Hello everyone and welcome back to Beatley Tones Beatles channel. Lovely to have you here. Thanks for joining me for this video and I hope you're all doing well. In today's video I'm going to be doing a full review of this box set, Power to the People by John Lennon and Yoko Ono. I'm going to be talking about all the music that is included in this box, and there is a lot of it, almost 9 hours, so this is probably going to be quite a long video, so get yourself comfy, get yourself on the sofa, get a drink and settle down. I love this cover. It's brilliant, isn't it? It's brilliant. I'm also going to be talking about the book that is included in this set, and I will be talking briefly about the Blu-rays, and I will be talking about the price point as well. What I'm not going to be doing in this video is showing you everything that is in the box, because I have already done an unboxing video where you do see everything that is in the box, including a huge number of pages from the book. So if you missed that and you want to watch the unboxing video, there will be an end card at the end of this video that you can go and do just that. Now, if you're still deliberating about whether to get this or which version of this to get, maybe, obviously this box set includes everything that is on offer here, but there are smaller iterations like 1 LP, a 2 LP, 1 CD and 2 CDs. If you're still deliberating about which version to get, then hopefully this video will help you out. It's interesting that all the other boxes that we've had so far in the Ultimate Mixes series have all been album centric box sets that just concentrate on one album. This box is different because this is an era centric box set, and it covers the period autumn 1971 to about end of summer 1972, so pretty much a year when they first arrived in New York to the one-to-one concert. It tells a story about what they got up to, and they did a lot, and most of it is covered in this box. And you can almost look at every John Lennon album because he was such a personal writer, and you can say, well, this is where John was in his life, Plastic Ono Band, the breakup of the Beatles, losing his mother, Primal Scream, all that sort of caper, Mind Games, things not going well with Yoko, Walls and Bridges, the Lost Weekend period, Double Fantasy, sort of embracing middle age, embracing middle age and fatherhood, and this box, it covers what we would call his political period. Obviously, I don't talk for all Beatles fans, but for me personally, I find this period the most interesting because I think I can probably say quite safely that it's probably not his best material from his solo career, but it is kind of the most interesting because he's jumping on all sorts of causes and influenced by the people that he was hanging out with in the village at the time, and not saying that he didn't believe in all these causes that he sings about during this period, because he did, but we all know that John was a man of contradiction, and something that he thought today, he may change his mind next week. And later in his in later interviews, he kind of says, well, maybe this wasn't such a great idea, and maybe it wasn't, but whether it was or it wasn't, depends on your opinion. But one thing that you can't deny is that it's really interesting. So I've listened to the box set about 3 times all the way through, or most of it 3 times. Some tracks even more than that. I've listened to it on my hi-fi, I've listened to it through my headphones, I've listened to the 5.1 mix, and so I feel like I've got a fairly good handle on it now, and we'll be talking about it. I've kind of A-B'd the tracks that we've had before, and I'll be talking about some of the differences that I'm hearing between that the old stuff and the new remix. So we'll do that as we go through the box as well. Now, I can't just gloss over the fact that we have got a missing track. We've talked about it in the comments. We've talked it to death. We live in very different times now. There's nothing we can do about it, and it is what it is. It's not gonna change by keep complaining about it. But from my point of view, if it's a straight choice between not having that song but getting 138 tracks or getting nothing at all, then I know what option I'm going for. For those who have been saying that the song has been erased from history, that's simply not true. The song hasn't been erased from history because you can't erase history. History happened in the past and it is forever. And that is a fact. That is a fact. That's why it's called history. But the song still exists. It still exists on your copies of Sometime in New York City. The live performances, the afternoon performance is on that album, and the evening performance is on the Lennon anthology, and they still exist. The song even exists on streaming platforms. The only thing that we're not getting is a remix of it. We would have loved a remix of it. It's a fantastic song. No one is saying otherwise. But when it comes to weighing up, getting all of that or getting nothing, then, well, you don't need me to tell you what the balancing act is there. So we have talked about it to death, so now let's just park it. Another thing that some viewers have pointed out in the comments of the announcement video is the absence of the song Sisters Oh Sisters, which was performed at both the afternoon and the evening show. And the reason for that is quite straightforward. There simply wasn't enough room. The CD, the hybrid CD, disc 1, comes in at 76 minutes, and the evening show comes in at 77 minutes. So there simply wasn't enough room. So they had to drop something, and it was decided that there were enough live performances of Sisters Oh Sisters on the rest of the box set that would be the one that got dropped. So that is the reason for that. And now let's get on and talk about the music that is here. So let's start with the one-to-one concert, which takes up the first 3 discs of this box set. Disc 1 being the hybrid show, disc 2 being the afternoon show, and disc 3 being the evening show. Now, the hybrid disc is a best of. It's what they consider to be the best performances of each song from the two shows. Now, some people might ask, why do we need a hybrid disc? Isn't it a bit of overkill? If you've got the whole of the afternoon show and you've got the whole of the evening show, why do you need the hybrid disc? Well, it's an interesting concept. It's not something that we've seen before, but I think it's more of a convenience thing. If you want to listen to the best performances, then you'll listen to the hybrid disc. If you want to listen to the afternoon or evening shows in their entirety, then you'll listen to those discs. So you've got both options there. Obviously, there is a little bit of repetition, because whatever's on the hybrid disc has been used either on the afternoon show or the evening show, but I don't think it really matters, does it? So that is how the hybrid works. If you're buying the 1 CD or the 2 LP version of the one-to-one, then you will be getting the hybrid show. And if you're buying the 4 LP box set, you'll get the afternoon and the evening shows on those 4 LPs, and that comes as a 2 CD as well. Now, when you listen to the shows in their entirety, both have their merits. And we know that the afternoon show, there was some difficulty with the recording of it. It didn't sound great, and they ended up, during the break in between the 2 shows, moving the microphones to different positions, moving some instruments to different positions. I think when you listen to both shows together, I think probably the afternoon show just about edges it, and that is borne out by the amount of tracks from the afternoon show that appear on the hybrid disc. Only 6 tracks from the evening show appear on the hybrid disc, and they are Well, We're a Walter, Come Together, Hound Dog, Law and Order, and Give Peace a Chance. And when you consider that Law and Order and Give Peace a Chance were only played at the evening show, that means only 4. They considered only 4 songs from the evening show to be better performances than the versions that were done in the afternoon show, and that's quite interesting, and the two shows are very different. As I say, they're very different. You know, some songs different lengths. Quite considerably different lengths on one show than it is on the other, and I think the choice of the afternoon show on the hybrid disc may be dependent on the performance of John or Yoko. You know, they do make, you know, mistakes with lyrics and things like that on both shows, but probably less frequent or less apparent on the afternoon show, and that may have been the criteria for getting onto the hybrid show. But both, as I say, both shows are really good and really enjoyable, and I'm glad that we've got them both. Now, one thing you will notice from listening to the afternoon and evening show is that when we got this album back in 1986 live in New York City, there were quite a few edits on that LP. We didn't get the full version of the song or of the performances, which was interesting. You hear the whole songs on the afternoon and evening show, and that's where you realise that they did edits back in 1986. One other thing that they edited back in 1986 was the song intros, the between song banter that John did. So sometimes you'll get you're on that album you've got a performance from the afternoon show, but the intro to the song was from the evening show, and that becomes apparent when you hear the evening show and the afternoon show in their entirety. One thing that you will definitely notice is the improvement of the sound quality. If you are familiar with this album, you know that it's not great. It's not a great sounding record. Now, the remix has been done by Paul Hicks and Sam Gannon, and Sean is the producer of this, and they have done a great job with improving the sound. It sounds really, really good now. Elephant's Memory sound really tight as a band, and John's voice sounds fantastic. And you'll notice that various instruments have been raised up in the mix, and others lowered in the mix. And if you picked up the Power to the People EP back in April, or you saw the 1-to-1 film, then you'll have an idea of how this is going to sound. You'll be familiar with how good that the sound improvement was on those songs that we got on the EP and in the film. So they've done a really good job. Now, I'm not going to talk about every track during the concert, but I'm going to be talking about the songs of note and some personal highlights. The opening track on the album is Power to the People, but this isn't a live performance of Power to the People. It's taken from the single. It's the intro, the chanting at the beginning played over and over and over again, and eventually the band start up with a chuggy guitar, and that kind of builds and it builds and it builds. And it's not the only thing that builds. The anticipation of the crowd is also building, and that comes through brilliantly on this track and throughout this entire concert. The excitement of the crowd really does come through on this live album. And why wouldn't they be excited? They're seeing John Lennon live. No wonder they're excited, and how fantastic it must have been to be there. But the opening song, New York City, when it comes in, it sounds so solid and tight and chunky and that's not surprising, because this is a band that have got two drummers and they've got two bass players. An extra bass player added, John Wall added. He wasn't actually in Elephant's Memory, but he's added to the lineup for this concert. And the New York City sounds really good. Is this the best version of New York City out there? Probably. You decide. But I think it sounds absolutely fantastic. Another early song is Move On Fast, a Yoko song. Now, when they did this at the 1-to-1, this was an unreleased track, so quite brave to do that. It did eventually come out on Yoko's album Approximately Infinite Universe, and I really love this song. It really does rock, and you could maybe say this is the night that Yoko invented punk rock. Another early highlight, Well. Now, this is taken from the evening show, and I find it quite hard to pull the two performances apart. They are really both very, very good. And when you think about when you think about the evening performance, you know, John's already done, all of them have already done an hour and a half show in the afternoon, and now doing another show in the same evening. That's got to take its toll. But John's voice, you think about the song Well, with the screaming at the end, you know, he doesn't hold back on the evening show, even though he's already done it in the noon show, and he's done Mother as well. And, you know, it really comes across great. It's such a great song live. You know, when it comes in at the beginning, it's got that, you know, that thumping kick drum and bass, boom, 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 and it just sounds amazing. Really great version of this song. The end of it, they don't quite all finish together at the end of this song. And on the afternoon song, probably the reason why the evening show was chosen was because John gets a slight lyric mistake on the afternoon version, where he says liberation instead of revolution, and quickly corrects himself, and that's probably the reason why the evening version was used here. But it is fantastic. Instant Karma is also another highlight. Really interesting performance and different sounding version of Instant Karma, because he's playing it on a electric keyboard rather than a piano. I'm not sure why they didn't have a piano on stage, because in the book there's some great shots of the stage taken from overhead, and the stage was huge, so there was definitely room for a piano on there, but he plays it on an electric keyboard. And in this song, one thing that I remember from the old version of this is the drum fills on it, in the, you know, what in the world you're thinking of, laughing in the face of love bit, and Alan White on the studio version does these fantastic drum fills on that bit. And on the live version, Jim Keltner, I think it's Jim Keltner that plays it. It's difficult to say. I tried to watch the video of Instant Karma that's come out, and it's difficult to tell which drummer it is, because there's a symbol right in front of the drummer who plays the fills face. But it's either Jim Keltner or Rick Franks, the Elephant Memory drummer. But they don't quite nail that drum fill. They don't play it with the same sort of finesse that Alan White plays it in the studio version. But I guess, you know, every drummer would play that fill slightly different. But great song. We get the afternoon version of that song, but John still says at the end of it, "Oh, we'll get it right next time." Mother, an absolute highlight as well of this set. Now, if you've seen the 1-to-1 film, then you will know how this sounds, and it's just such a great video with a bead of sweat, dripping off of John's nose as he sings it, and he sings it absolutely amazingly. It is incredible. This is a real highlight of the set, and again, the afternoon and the evening shows are both brilliant performances of this song. And again, I try hard to, it's hard to pull them apart, say which one is the best. But they go with the afternoon show in the hybrid disc for this one. And so yeah, if push come to a shove, I'll probably just go with the evening one on it. But it is an incredible performance, and totally appreciated by the crowd. The applause after that song goes on for about a minute. Come Together is another highlight for me. Both versions, he gets the lyrics wrong, so it's very candid, and I like that. I like that about these performances. And on the hybrid disc, they go for the evening performance. That's the one where he sings "He's Got Hairy Arsehole" and "Stop the War." And I really like the "Stop the War." It's really powerful, and I really like that being included in the version. That's the evening show. It's the one that we got on the Lennon Anthology back in 1998. And this is a great song to really appreciate how much this remix has improved the sound quality. Because if you've got the Lennon Anthology, go and listen to this song, Come Together, on the Lennon Anthology, and listen to the drums. The fill that Ringo plays on the Abbey Road version, dun 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 dun, that On the anthology version, it sounds like the drums sound like cardboard boxes. Go and listen to it then on this, and those drums sound like carpet bombing. They are so powerful, really, really great. Love come together on here. A song that really surprised me was Open Your Box. Because I can remember this as being the B-side of Power to the People. Now, I didn't buy that back in 1971. I wasn't a fan then, but I did pick it up in the late 70s and hated it. I hated it. I don't hate it here. I think I really like it, actually. It's got such a funky groove going through it. And I really like it here, and that has really surprised me. But Open Your Box, yeah, thumbs up from me for that. Cold Turkey. Now, on the hybrid disc, they go for the afternoon version of it. But when you listen to the version of Cold Turkey on the afternoon show, you will hear that the whole intro just breaks down. They all come in at different times, and John just stops it. He says, you can just hear him. He's kind of off mic, but it picks it up on the mic. He says, I haven't gone through 2 weeks of absolute misery for that. Let's go again. And when they do go again, they deliver an absolutely cracking version. John's vocal is amazing again. And if you go back to the Live in New York City album, on that album, the sax is played over the guitar riff, almost to the point that it kind of drowns it out. Now here, I think they have lowered the levels of the sax playing on Cold Turkey, which lets the guitar breathe, and you hear that guitar riff so much better, and it's such an integral part of the song. It kind of adds to the drama of the song, and this is a much better version of Cold Turkey. When you listen to Cold Turkey on the hybrid disc, they have cut out that breakdown. So you need the full afternoon show to hear that breakdown. It's not on the hybrid disc. It's been edited out, so it's, it just seems seamless. Hound Dog is an interesting one in terms of the version that they chose for the hybrid disc. They chose the evening show, but the two performances are very different. Now, the evening show definitely sounds better. The band sound better, and John sounds better, much more beefy. It sounds more beefy. But on the evening show, there are Yoko's vocal interventions in the gaps in the lyrics, and they don't really add anything to the song. The afternoon show, she doesn't do that, and so it must have been a difficult decision. I think they probably made the right decision by going with the evening show on the hybrid disc, but I don't think that Yoko's vocal interjections add anything to the song. But the band and John definitely sound better on the evening version. The song Law and Order, that may have intrigued some people on the track listing during the announcement. It certainly did me. I didn't know what this was, Law and Order, and this was only done in the evening show. And it's basically the band start up with a really sort of funky bass and drum groove, which will eventually be the bass and drum groove that is used in Give Peace a Chance, which is the next song. But it's just this kind of groove with Yoko reading out a political speech, and it only lasts a couple of minutes, by a well-known politician. Now, I won't spoil it for you because she doesn't reveal who the politician is until the end of the track. It will surprise you. It will surprise you who it is. And then we go into Give Peace a Chance. Now, this is a 10-minute version of Give Peace a Chance, and it's not the whole song. You don't get the everybody's talking about part. It is just the chorus over and over and over again. Now, on this record, we only got a minute of it. There was also a little excerpt of it stuck at the end of Happy Christmas, War is Over on the Shaved Fish album, I remember. But here we get the full song, 10 minutes of it, and I have to say, it drags. It drags up until about 3 minutes, when Stevie Wonder, who is one of the support acts at the 1-to-1, comes in, and you're just wow, what a voice. Really great to hear Stevie Wonder, but it is 10 minutes. If I'm absolutely honest, I think that what I personally would have preferred them to have edited this down and found room for Sisters Oh Sisters, because it's 10 minutes of just the chorus of Give Peace a Chance. Okay, so that is that's the one-to-one. Those are the big takeaways for me. The absolute highlights, the sound quality. The remix has just done absolute wonders for it, and this is the best sounding version of the one-to-one concerts that you will hear. So disc 4 is the reimagining of Sometime in New York City, called New York City Here. And when you say something is reimagined, that gives you a kind of a license to give us something different, a different feel to this album. One of the many criticisms that is marked against the original Sometime in New York City is that the production is so messy, it's so muddy, it's so full and crowded. Now, that sort of crowded feel, which is a trademark of Phil Spector's production work, has kind of been stripped away, and we get a much cleaner sounding album. Now, some people might like that, some people don't. I do like what they've done here. Now, there are some things that have been done throughout this album, and as I go through each track, I don't really want to keep repeating myself, so I'll just say them now. One thing that you will notice straight away is almost all the reverb has been taken away from the vocals. There was tons of it. That is again another trademark of Phil Spector production, and the vocals here are much drier, much cleaner, and stripped of all the most of all the echo. Same with the drums, also reverb on the drums. You'll notice the sound of the snare drum is much sharper here, not as flabby as it was. Stan Bronstein, he is the sax player in Elephant's Memory, and is the leader of the band, and sax is abundantly present throughout the whole of the album, the original album, and it's still here as well, but it's lower in the mix. Some bits have been taken off, and some bits that remain have been lowered in the mix. These are things that are common throughout this album. Now, you might be surprised to learn that even without that song, this new version, this reimagining of Sometime in New York City, is 3 minutes longer than the original, and that is because they've extended a couple of songs, and they've also added in on a few songs John's Counting at the beginning, and maybe a little bit of studio chat at the end, and I'll come to those as I go through the album. But we get definitely a different feeling. You could call, I suppose technically you could call any remixing a reimagining, but here they have specifically tried to give us something different and given a different feel to the album, and on the whole I really like it. So New York City opens up disc 4, and we get an intro from John, and then a count-in, and then the band are in, and John's vocals much more upfront and clearer here, not buried in the mix. The guitars sound sharper, and they just really rock and give this song a really meaty, beefy feel, and that's all the better, I think. A lot of the fluff has been stripped away, the echo and all that sort of stuff. The bass, played by Gary Van Sylt, sounds really good here, and very audible again, not buried as it was. The main difference I noticed on this song is during the piano solo. Now, during the piano solo on the original, you get sax playing over the piano solo, which kind of buries it a little bit. Here, they have taken the beginning of the sax part that was over the piano solo off, and then the sax comes in a little bit later in the second half of the piano solo, and that's a big improvement, I feel. So New York City, it sounds really, really good, really happy with that. Sisters Oh Sisters, I'm not noticing too much change on that. This is a song that I really like. I've noticed that some of the strings have been taken off of this song, and we only get the string part in the kind of the middle eight where the keys key changes, you know, new world, oh new world, that part. That's the only change that I noticed, but again, Sisters Oh Sisters sounds great. Attica State has been infinitely improved here. This is one of the worst sounding songs on the original album, Not Anymore. It really rocks. The vocals are more up front. They're not buried like they were before. The drums sound better. There's some great guitar parts going on in this song that kind of go unnoticed on the original, but you hear them here, and this is a much better version of Attica State. Really like this. Born in a Prison, wow. Now this is a song that I didn't really like very much before, mainly because of the lyrics, but it sounds absolutely fantastic here. The sax throughout this song is beautiful. Such a really lovely tone to it. The vocal that John does in those middle bits, you know, that wood becomes a flute when it's loved, you know, totally buried in the original. Here, they're great. They're great. And like Attica State, this song is allowed to breathe more. You can hear John's vocal in those parts, and it's all the better for it. And John and Yoko singing together sounds absolutely great. Really great. This is such a gorgeous song. I've totally changed my opinion of it from hearing this remix. I really do love it now. I did notice that some of the random sax notes towards, I think on verse 3 it might be, on the original have been taken out, and therefore you get a cleaner vocal. But yeah, really big up for Born in a Prison. I think it's greatly improved here, and I really like this one. Sunday Bloody Sunday is the first song that gets an extended version here. It moves from being just shy of 5 minutes to 6 minutes 44. And that is because the bit at the end where it faded out and then faded back in again on the original doesn't do that now. They just let it play. All the stuff that they did during that sort of ad-libby bit at the end is just allowed to run without the fade out and the fade in. And you know, it's, as I say, it's extended with John doing a lot of ad-libbed vocals, and he's got a lot to say. And it goes, it just carries on. It's the sort of the ad-libby bit is kind of cold turkey style. And the one bit that you will notice right at the beginning, you know, the reverb, as I say, is off of the drums. So the drums, the marching drums at the beginning sound much clearer, and you really hear the kick drum as part of that groove. And that sounds really good. You don't really hear that on the original. You'll also notice that the sax on the intro before the vocal come in has been removed. And what that does is it kind of gives John's vocal, when it comes in, which again is much cleaner and stripped of reverb, it comes in and it's much more powerful. Now this is probably the most vitriolic song on the album. I have never really liked the chorus of this song, and that hasn't changed with this remix, but this is an improvement on the original, definitely, and I do like the extended version. So next up is Luck of the Irish, and this is a song that, despite the most gorgeous melody, I've never really been completely convinced by this song, mainly because of the lyrics. And obviously a remix is not going to change the lyrics, but what they have done with this song is stripped it right back, so it sounds even more folky than it did originally, which means that the flutes have gone, but also the lovely twinkly piano that goes throughout this song, and I'm not totally convinced about that. I really like the twinkly piano in this song, but this is a completely different listen to the song, and you'll have to make up your mind whether you like this version more than the original. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm not quite sure, but you know, maybe with repeated plays I will like this more, but I'm not completely convinced by the remix of this song, mainly because I missed the piano. I missed the piano part. The reimagining of John Sinclair is next, and we get a count in at the beginning, we get some studio chat at the end, but the main part of the extension is loads and loads of slide guitar. The song goes from 3 minutes 24 to being 4 minutes 52, so we're getting an extra minute and a half ish of that song, and I do really like the extra slide guitar part in it. The bass and kick drum are also higher in the mix in this song, which gives it a little bit more beefiness, and I do really like the remix of John Sinclair. It's great. So next up is Angela, quite possibly my favourite track on the album, and we have had the remix of this before. It appeared on the Gimme Some Truth compilation, but from what I understand is that there has been some minor tweaks. It hasn't been remixed again, but there has been some minor tweaks just to make the song fit in with the ambience of this new disc, compared with the ambience that it was needed to be part of a compilation album. So I can't really hear what those tweaks are, so they must be very, very minor. But basically the remix is the same as we got in 2020. And when I heard that remix, that was the thing that said, oh, we really must get a remix. You know, if they can do this with Angela, imagine what they could do with the rest of the album. And that was the thing that really wanted me to have a remix of Sometime in New York City. Now, if you're not familiar with the version of Angela, the main change is really obviously all the reverb has gone from the vocal. The kick drum is louder. You hear all the little slide guitar bits are much clearer. The vocals are clearer, particularly John's backing vocal. In that bit again, they gave you coffee, they gave you tea. In the original, is virtually inaudible, but now he's it's kind of equal with Yoko's vocal as well, and that is a great thing. Sounds really good. Also, the keyboard solo in the middle of this song just sounds absolutely awesome. Love it. This is a really great remix. Final track is We're All Water. I always really liked the lyrics of this song, but it was always so full of clutter. That clutter has been stripped away. The bass and the drums are much clearer, and this is a song that they nailed in two takes. And I think that when I hear the vocal now without the reverb, I'm pretty sure that Yoko's vocal is double tracked on this, which I had never heard before on the original version. So again, a great improvement, I think, on that song. That concludes disc 4. I think that Paul Hicks and Sam Gannon have done a fantastic job with this. Disc 5 is the Evolution documentaries, and whenever we get these box sets, I always look forward to the remix first, but my second favourite disc is always the Evolution documentaries, and they don't disappoint here. They are compiled by Sam Gannon, and almost every song apart from We're All Water has got either an acoustic demo or an acoustic rehearsal. The songs that they did at Ann Arbor for the John Sinclair Rally are represented here in their earliest stage by a rehearsal from that gig. And the documentaries are fantastic. They just show the progress of the song, and they are just so interesting to listen to, especially as you get a lot of comment from John Lennon on here. Sometimes some really funny things. Sometimes he's losing his temper, they're just great. New York City is a great one. That lasts about 5.5 minutes. Starts with an electric guitar demo, but with very different lyrics. Then we get a few outtakes from the sessions. Now, there's no specific outtake disc in this set, but we do get lots of excerpts from outtakes within the Evolution documentaries, and I think they're really great. Sisters Oh Sisters starts with a rehearsal of the song from the Ann Arbor John Sinclair Rally, and we get a lot of studio chat and different versions of the song throughout. Born in a Prison, we get an acoustic demo to start, and lots of different versions. We hear a version just with the strings and vocals. The Evolution documentary for Sunday Bloody Sunday is one of the highlights of this disc. This is a song. This is a very serious song, but the sessions weren't without humour. That you get a lot of studio chat from John on this, sometimes directing the band, particularly the drummers. He wants them to do like a marching beat because the song is about what happened on a march, and the lyrics for this song are pretty vitriolic, but if you think they're vitriolic on the finished record, you just hear what they start off with here. There's some chat with Stan Bronstein, the sax player in Elephant's Memory. John's telling him not to blow himself out during this because we've got a lot of work to do. He says, mind you, anyone who decides to be a sax player deserves to be tortured. And then at the end of another sort of outtake, John says, come on, I want to get on with the female liberation song before McCartney gets at it. Sorry, Paul. So it's great. It's really great stuff. The Luck of the Irish is also 8.5 minute. Get a complete demo of this and some beautiful arrangements. The piano is in the Evolution documentary, so I'm happy about that. We get a really nice slow version of it. One thing that we learn from this is, you know, that bit at the beginning of Sisters Oh Sisters on the finished album, The Male Chauvinist Pig Engineer, that was actually recorded during the sessions for Luck of the Irish. We hear it here. Now, obviously, they just edited that bit and stuck it at the start of Sisters Oh Sisters on the finished album, but that's something that we've learned from these Evolution documentaries. Do really enjoy them. Angela starts off life as a song called JJ. We get an acoustic demo, and what happens when they're in the studio recording it, they get the news that Angela Davis has actually been released from prison. John said, well, let's pretend that she's still inside and let's be miserable so we can get the right feel for the song. The only song that's really not well represented in the Evolution documentaries is We're All Water, and that was because they nailed it in 2 takes. So all we get is about a 3-minute excerpt of stuff. The freak out bit at the end, that wasn't included on the final record. So that's the Evolution documentaries. I can't really talk in detail about everything that goes on in these, or we'll be here all day, but in the book you get all the information about exactly which outtakes we get excerpts from in these Evolution documentaries. They're really good. Really good job there by Sam Gannon. So disc 6 is the studio jams and element mixes. We get 16 studio jams and 4 element mixes, so 20 tracks in all. The disc lasts about 55 minutes. Now, these studio jams were all recorded in between takes during the recording of Sometime in New York City in 1972, and the in between take songs that they come from, they were recorded during the sessions for Sunday Bloody Sunday, Attic Estate, New York City, and Luck of the Irish. Now, these are pretty much all of them are old rock and roll songs from the 50s, late 50s and early 60s. Probably a lot of the songs John used to sing at the Cavern, I would imagine, and in Hamburg and stuff like that. And they're interesting to listen to. John is in great voice, and he's giving it everything in these studio jams. He loves this stuff. He's in his element, playing this sort of, you know, old time rock and roll. But it seems like that Elephant's Memory are not used to playing these sort of songs. They don't really know, you know, some of the songs, but they're just old rock and roll songs, so they're not difficult. So they pick them up. You know, John, it goes like this and it goes like that, as John's saying, and they catch on fairly quickly. Some of the songs are familiar, some of them weren't familiar. Roll Over Beethoven, Honey Don't, Ain't That a Shame, Send Me Some Lovin', Don't Be Cruel, and Hound Dog, which is a kind of a medley with John hamming it up as Elvis, which is great. A whole lot of shaking is there. And there's a song called My Babe, which I hadn't heard before, and just sort of halfway through that, it kind of goes into Not Fade Away, the Buddy Holly Rolling Stones song. That's not credited on the sleeve, but that's what happens. And, you know, these are studio jams. They're not supposed to be taken seriously. They're just the band, you know, mucking about and just killing time, really, during the session. So, you know, I'm not sure how often I'd go back to these. There is a track called Jazz Freakout, which I really love, which is great. And John doing Honey Don't is a song that he obviously loves. He jammed that during the Plastic Ono Band sessions as well. It's obviously one of his favourites, and I suspect he had to wrestle with Ringo for Ringo to get the lead vocal on that when they recorded it for Beatles for Sale. But yeah, it's very enjoyable. It's very enjoyable. As I say, I'm not sure how often I would go back to it, but it is enjoyable. Listen, now the last 4 tracks on the CD are the element mixes. Now this is strings only. This is the entire string part played by the invisible strings, as they're known on the record, for Sisters Oh Sisters, Born in a Prison, Luck of the Irish, and Angela. And they're really beautiful, really nice to hear these isolated strings, really nice. And as I said earlier, that they were used in their entirety during the recording of the original album in 1972, but for the remix they've just used bits of those, and that's really CD 6. I would like to have had more element mixes on here because I do really like them. It's really great having certain instruments isolated, but you know, you can't have everything, can you? CD 7 is called Live Jam, and it's basically a remix of this, the second LP that came free with the original sometime in New York City. It covers 2 gigs that they did. The first one at the Lyceum Ballroom in London in December 1969, with a cast of thousands, John and Yoko, Keith Moon, George Harrison, Eric Clapton, Jim Gordon, Billy Preston, Nicky Hopkins, Delaney and Bonnie, loads of people. They did 2 songs, Cold Turkey, which is excellent, and Don't Worry Kyoko, which is 15 minutes long. So the second gig was with Frank Zappa and the Mothers, recorded in June 1971 at the Fillmore East. And there's just 4 tracks on the original album. This has been split out into 6 tracks now because of legal disputes with Frank Zappa over the writing of the song Jam Rag. So you've got Well Baby Please Don't Go, which is a cover, and really great. It's really great, and that was a song that John used to do at the Cavern. He even announces it at that. The rest of the stuff is kind of, you know, improv prog rock type stuff. Jam Rag, which is now called Jam Rag, open brackets, Say Please. King Kong, which is a Frank Zappa song. Jam Rag, open brackets, Orc, close brackets. Scumbag, and Owl. He's called Owl. A Small Eternity with Yoko Ono. And originally this was about, the Scumbag song was like about 15 minutes long or something like that. And now it's been split into these more palatable portions. And, Jam Rag is nothing, really. It's nothing. King Kong and the other part of Jam Rag is okay. Musically, it's okay. There's not much to it. Scumbag is very repetitive lyrically. That is the only word in the song, and the audience seemed to get into it. Frank, I've never been really a fan of Frank Zappa and the Mothers. They're too far out for me. But I have listened to it. I have listened to it on the things I do for you. I have listened to it, and it's better than I remembered. But I don't really need to go back to it. I don't need to hear this again. I don't think. But obviously, the highlights of this disc are Cold Turkey and Well Baby Please Don't Go. So disc 8 is called Live Jam 2, and this disc is really good. These are historic live performances that John and Yoko did around this time, mostly benefits. Now, most of these are just acoustic run-throughs of the song. So the first 4 songs come from the John Sinclair rally, where they do Attic Estate, Luck of the Irish, Sisters Oh Sisters, and John Sinclair. And as we know, John Sinclair was released 2 days after this benefit gig. The next one is the Attica State benefit, where they did Attica State, Sisters Oh Sisters, and Imagine. Then the next one is the David Frost Show, where they did Attica State, Sisters Oh Sisters, and John Sinclair. And so all of those are all kind of, acoustic performances. Then we get the Jerry Lewis Muscular Dystrophy telethon, and this is really good. This is the highlight of this disc, because this is a full band performance with Elephant's Memory, and they do Imagine, the brilliant Now or Never, a track that appeared on Yoko's Approximately Infinite Universe. I love this song. And they do Give Peace a Chance with Jerry Lewis on trumpet, would you believe? Now these are great. These aren't all the performances that they did live during this period. There's a couple missing. Dick Cavett and the Mike Douglas Show performances are not here. This is a great disc. I'm really glad to get this material. Some of it has been out on the Lennon Anthology before, but it's still great to have all this stuff all together. So CD 9, the final CD, is Home Jams, and these come from cassette recordings from John's private collection. They were never really intended for for proper release or public consumption, or whatever you want to call it, and therefore they're very, very candid, and it's great to have them. It's great to have them. The first sort of 20 songs on this are is John, you imagine lying on his bed, probably in his gym jams, at the St Regis Hotel, and he's just going mostly through some old rock and roll covers. You get Honey Don't again, Lend Me Your Comb, quite a few Buddy Holly songs, Heartbeat, Peggy Sue Got Married, Rave On. There's Lend Me Your Comb is here. There's an early demo of New York City here. A couple of curio phone calls that happened while the tape was running, and that's sort of the first session. And these songs were used as the soundtrack for Yoko's film Clock. And the second one comes also from the St Regis Hotel about a month and a half later, where we get a song called I Got You, which is a Lennon original. Also High Heeled Sneakers, Slipping and Sliding, and also Gone From This Place, which I love, which is also a Lennon original. Then the third cassette is from the Ann Arbor gig, rehearsals. I think probably these were recorded before the gig. We got Send Me Some Lovin', and then some more John Lennon original songs. He Got the Blues, When the Teacher Pill, and It's Real from that. And then the fourth cassette is with Phil Oakes. Phil Oakes is the singer on these, and I think these are Phil Oakes songs, and they're really nice. I really like them. I didn't know any of them apart from Joe Hill. I'd heard that before, only because Billy Bragg did a cover of it, so I know that one. But this is really good. I really enjoyed those four songs as well. As I said, these were not really meant for public consumption, but it's great that we've got them, and they've been cleaned up, obviously, so they don't really sound too bad at all, seeing as they've come from cassettes that are 50 years old. So that's disc 9. That's really all the music now covered. Now onto the Blu-rays. Now I haven't listened to all the content on the Blu-ray, but as you know, the Blu-rays are high-res files and 5.1 mixes and Dolby Atmos mixes. And I have listened to the Hybrid Show and the New York City album on the Blu-ray, and they do sound really good. I'm not a massive fan of listening to music in 5.1. I don't have Dolby Atmos, but I do have a 5.1 system, which is great for telly, but I don't really like listening to music that way. I prefer music in stereo coming at me rather than sort of random instruments in my ears coming from behind me. But if you do like your spatial audio, then you'll really like them. But one thing that I should mention is that each of the discs has got on their intro screen has got some kind of bonus audio on there, like say this one, for example, has got John and Yoko and Elephant's Memory doing, I think, a radio advert for the announcement of the matinee show for the 1:1. And there wasn't really anything that I thought that was on Blu-ray 3 that would really benefit from spatial audio. But having seen the intro screen for Blu-ray 1 and Blu-ray 2, I had to put in Blu-ray 3 just to see what was on it, and I was rewarded for that. I was rewarded for that dedication. Now, if you've seen the 1:1 film, one of the highlights of that film, one of the non-musical highlights of that film, is a phone call that takes place between Alan Klein and John Lennon. It is comedy gold, and that is here as the intro screen for Blu-ray 3. So give that a go. You don't want to miss it. As I say, it is comedy gold. Also included in the box is this hardback book. Now, if you saw the unboxing video, I showed you quite a lot of pages in this book. It's 204 pages long. I didn't show them all, but it's 204 pages long, and it is excellent. It really is. Loads of great photos in here, loads of great information. I haven't read it all yet, but I've picked and chosen various pieces to read, mostly for the benefit of this video. And this is, I think this is probably the best book that we've had so far in the box set series. Really good. It's certainly the longest, 204 pages. The book has been compiled and edited by Simon Hilton. He's done a really good job with this. As I say, there is some really great stuff inside this, including a really nice piece written by Sean, talking about how it feels to, discover his father's work and listen to him, and the comfort that he takes from hearing him talk on various takes and stuff like that makes him feel closer to him and that sort of thing. I think sometimes we forget that, he lost his father when he was just 5 years old, and the impact that would have. So the book is excellent, really good. Once again, let's just have one more look at the lenticular cover, because it is brilliant, isn't it? It is brilliant. Love that. Once again, I would like to thank everyone at the John Lennon estate for sending me this and allowing me to both show the box set to everyone and to review it for you early. And I hope you've enjoyed this video, doing that review. And I know that some people like to wait until they've actually heard the box set for themselves before listening to a review of it. And if you're one of these people, then you won't have heard me say that, will you? But if you do want to come back to this video once you've heard it and comment and tell me what you think, bits that you agree with and bits that you disagree with, that sort of thing. Love to hear from you. If you're thinking of getting this now after hearing the review, please tell me down in the comments. And or whether this has actually whetted your appetite for it and you've already ordered it. If you do want to order it, it comes out on the 10th of October. You can pre-order it now from johnlennon.com or Amazon in your various territories, or wherever it is that you get your music. Okay, I think we've covered everything. I just want to say the Lennon estate really do these box sets well. They're head and shoulders above all the other camps within the Beatles circle. They really are, and they do these things really well. The next one will be Walls and Bridges, but we won't be getting it until 2027. So we've got a bit of a wait for that, but really looking forward to what they do with the Walls and Bridges ultimate mixes. It should be fantastic because it's such a fantastic album. Okay, that is it from me. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye.